There's something about using up scrappy bits that haven't found their way into main projects that is beautiful. It's like going on a treasure hunt for things you haven't seen for a while, or meeting old family members or friends that you haven't seen for ages. And today's prompt is scrap it out. So I've got a big manila folder that I put all sorts of bits and pieces in from when I'm teaching or when I'm on lives or whatever, and I stack them all away in there during the year, and then it becomes my fodder for projects. So I'm rooting through here all of the bits and pieces that I've got remaining, to find things that give me joy. That's how I start when I'm scrapping it out. I just find bits that today bring me joy. And um, I'm going to be using these bits to create something which I've come to call my buttons. And what I mean by that is one layer on top of another. Um, to create a shape. Now, normally I literally make these button shape, a circle, and I use circle punches to put them on top of each other. And that creates the button. This, of course, is a pebble shape, but I thought I could bring the same thing to this. So, I want to teach you today. You can watch what I'm doing, and I'm really not doing anything that difficult. Just gluing one thing on top of another. But I want to teach you something that I tell all my in-house um, creatives, and that is when you're working with mixed media, you can think about what makes a successful mixed media piece. You can think about 3 T's, the 3 T's of mixed media, and they are tone, texture, and tactile. If you have all three, you're going to have a successful piece. So tone is the colours that you use and how you use them, and thinking a little bit about colour skills and what colours work with each other. You don't have to have a kind of degree level understanding. So, but certainly starting to develop an eye of what colours go with what can be really useful. So that's tone. Texture is about pattern and contrast. So in here I've got some very solid colours, and I've got some patterns of colours. You can see the dotted pink in the background, and I've got this very dark brown. So I've got light and dark, they're opposites. I've got solid and pattern, that's opposites. So opposites are often also very useful for contrast. So that's texture. And then the third one is very specific to mixed media, I think, and that is the word tactile, something that is playful, something that you'd want to get your hands on and give it a bit of a squish. And in this case, what you're going to see me do is I'm going to grab a bit of the copper thread that I used yesterday, and I'm going to wrap it round the top 2 layers of my button, or my buttoning, and then I'm going to use a singular word. Um, you saw one of the pieces of paper that is one of my scrappy bits of paper was a painted book page, and it had some words on it. And one of the words I think I used is village. Because there's something about a reimagining of our village, of this community, the YouTube community, something that you are all part of, that feels like a village. So I use the word village. So I've got the thread that becomes tactile, the word that becomes a little bit playful, and I use that on there. And so then I've got tone, I've got different colours, I've got texture, I've got the contrast of different shapes, and I've got tactile, which is the playful bit. And if you have all those three, then you're in for a treat. I finished this piece off because I think it's really important when you're using your scrappy bits, whether that is using old scrapbook pages or using your own scrappy papers. I think it's really important when you do a new project to make it its own thing. And so I use watered down gold acrylic and a pink spray paint to put some splats around the edge of this piece. And then I use my charcoal pencil in a slightly different way than we've been using it so far, which is that I scribble onto the piece and then I use a watery paintbrush to sort of move it around and give it a grungy feel. I hope, as always, you're enjoying this project. We are now up to day, I can't remember, 13th, I think. So we're almost halfway, which is really exciting. And because we're almost halfway, and because halfway will be this weekend, and I've got a bit more time, I want to do something really exciting. I want to create a bit of content for you guys that demonstrates how you could use 5 of the techniques we've used so far to create a piece of art. And I need your help. I need you to write in the comments below for me what 5 you think I should use. What 5 techniques you would like to see me use that I've used so far. And the top 5 I will definitely use. And if you can only think of 1 or 2 that you'd like me to put down, put that in the comments. If you'd like to see just 1, put that in the comments. If you'd like to see 5, put that in. So I'm going to use 5 different techniques to create a piece of art on a little box canvas. And I'll create that content and pop it up at the weekend so that you can have that alongside everything else, just so you can see that though we are creating little tiny moments of art, what we're actually doing is experimenting and developing some skills that can be used to create final pieces. So I hope you've enjoyed today. I'll see you back tomorrow, and yeah, let me know in the comments below what you want me to play with this weekend. All right, speak soon. Bye.